Hello, Armoured Pants here, and I have a video for you on the fourth tank in the British line, the Tier 4, the Matilda. Now this is a brilliant tank. However, it's unusual and different compared to the other tanks that you've played coming up to here, which are the cruisers, which are light medium tanks. This in fact is a heavy tank. So we need to learn a few different things here as we are going to play a tank completely different to the ones we've played before in this line. But don't worry, I'm going to take you through it step by step, and after the video you should know a lot more, be a lot more proficient with heavy tanks, and actually you will learn different skills using this tank because, as I said, it's completely different. Now we are going to load out this tank with supercharge and refined gun. This tank has a low caliber gun, it's only 40 caliber, but look at that penetration. 89mm of penetration, even with the 40 caliber, it's brilliant. And then with the APCR loaded, it's going to do even more. Look at that, 145mm of penetration with the APCR. That will go through anything. Just to recap on the difference between AP and APCR, why do you use it? APCR is a premium shell. It has higher penetration but lower damage. So therefore use it when you're up against a target which is red. Open your ammo selector, select APCR, and that round should go through. For most other cases, use the AP because it does more damage. APCR is a premium round that will cost you gold or credits. When you're loading up your ammo in your garage, select the changer beside APCR to change it to credits, which I would recommend because credits you can earn in game, gold you cannot earn in game usually. Now, what is the story with this tank? Whoa, what? Look at this. It looks like Willy Wonka's outfit in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Just look how purple and red that is. Basically that means you cannot pen this thing front on. The armor is troll. This is what they call OP, overpowered armor. This tank also does almost 30 kilometers an hour, so it's pretty fast. Its reverse speed is faster than it used to be as well. So this tank is really difficult opponent on the battlefield, and you will bounce shots in this tank. If you just look at it here, look at that, completely red. Look at this, you know, it almost looks like a tomato or a traffic light. Even up against tier 5s, it's going to bounce shots. So this is the main benefit and the main advantage of this tank. And the steel wall medals, that is for bouncing shots, are coming your way. In fact, you could even open your own medal mint for these things. These medals are going to come your way big time with this tank. This tank is a heavy tank. Heavy tanks have a different role in the game. Their role is basically you're the spearhead. So you push and punch through the enemy, and you really your role is to be aggressive and to use your armor to bounce shots and to help your teammates in the light tanks and the medium tanks. So let's have a look at the tank in action. This is Mirage, so note the map tactics too. Now I have two games for you here, and both are mastery games, both are different. This game, the first game, I actually lose, but I wanted to show it to you for a few reasons. Firstly, I wanted to let you know, in case you haven't already figured it out yourself, that you can get mastery badges when you lose, you can get mastery badges when you win, you can get mastery badges when you draw, you can get mastery badges even when you don't survive the game. And if you look at the SU-85B video that I'm going to upload soon, or depending on you're watching it, it may already be uploaded, you'll see that I actually win the game but die before the end, and I still get a mastery badge. So you can get mastery badges when you draw, win or lose, because it's about your XP that you get during the game. The majority of course are given for winning the game and surviving, but that's not always the case. So I just thought I'd draw your attention to that. And get a mastery badge, even if you lose, is a great achievement. You see what I mean about that? Going, I went straight through the turret of that Panzer 4D. There it bounced my first shot. The tank, like all British tanks, has pretty good gun depression too. So I am able to use this hill. I'm just sticking my turret over. I'm rolling back and forth while I'm reloading. And I'm putting damage into the enemy tanks. Missed that shot there. But I've spotted up the enemy. I'm also now putting damage into them again. You see that through the eye of a needle, through the pole, there, straight into the Chiha. Now we've removed him. Trying to put another one into Panzer 4D, but as you can see here, I'm using a trick which I showed you in the previous video on the Cruiser series, using firing through gaps. The red team, particularly if they're inexperienced, will think that they're safe there, but as you can see, I'm firing under the rail car into him, and I've done a little bit of damage on him. Now, I'm running out of targets here, so I'm just trying to see if I can still get into the Panzer 4. Don't decide, see if I can hit him on his cupola. Miss him. Cupola on the Panzer 4. The top part is vulnerable, so even if you can only see that, you can do some damage. Again, missed him there. So I've missed a few shots, but nonetheless, I am keeping him in cover. And sometimes, even when you don't do damaging shots, you're distracting the enemy, causing them difficulties. And making it difficult for them to get shots onto your teammates. If you've seen the T14 video I did, I fired a lot of shots into a bush on spec and that, just to distract and annoy the enemy and actually help my teammates who are flanking them. So even when you don't pen, you can also you can often just distract your enemy and actually contribute towards your team's overall position. Now I decided to move up here because we're sort of weren't really making any progress. So now I'm in behind here and I'm doing some damage. Now the other great thing about this gun, apart from its penetration, I tracked him there, that's why he stopped moving. So if you fire into the drive wheel, which is on the front lower part of the tank, you can actually track tanks. And that's what happened to this Hetzer here. I tracked him. Now I continue to fire into his drive wheel so he can't repair. This is called perma-tracking. In other words, he's permanently tracked. He can't move and I can just continue to pump damage into him. So this poor Hetzer here is really having a bad day at the office. And you should do that if you can. Fire into drive wheel, track them, fire in again, and then once they blow their kits, while the kits are repairing, and that takes 75 or 90 seconds, they're perma-tracked and they can't move. Now I've decided to move up here. I'm going to put some more damage in. Now, as I was saying, apart from the fantastic penetration of this tank and the great gun, its rate of fire is amazing. 3.3 second reload, which means every 3.3 seconds you're doing anything from 35 to 50 damage, which is really impressive. Now, I am in a really bad situation here. Despite my best efforts, I am now outnumbered 4-1. And I'm going to try to use the armour of the tank and its good rate of fire to do as much damage as I can, take as many of these guys out as I can. It's a really difficult situation. They're coming at me at all sides, and you know, it doesn't matter how good a player or how experienced. You could take the best player in the world. If you come at him from 2 or 3 sides, it's very difficult for him to win because, well, the gun can only face one direction at a time, plus you can only have the thickest part of your armour facing one of your opponents, and you're going to leave other parts of your armour vulnerable. Now I've cleared off one, rolling back, try to see if I can keep the front part of my tank facing the enemy. Great shot into him, set him on fire. Now I bounced that shot there. Now the A20 is doing the right thing. The A20 is coming behind me, and this allows the other Matilda to put shots into me. The tank is not very fast in reverse, as you can see, but I'm trying to keep the front of my armour facing the Matilda while I come around to deal with the A20. Now the A20 has given me a chance because instead of going behind me again, I tried to track and miss. Now he's gone behind me again. So the A20 is doing the right thing. The A20 is using that big derp gun, the 76mm, and he's probably using heat shells. So this is why I bounced some shots from him, because the heat shells won't go through the spaced armour on the sides of the Matilda. Now ramming me was a very bad idea. However, for him, it's given me a slight advantage in that now I'm using his hull, the corpse of his dead tank, just to regroup a little bit and see if I can somehow get a few shots in and bounce some shots from the other Matilda. You can see now I've blocked a huge amount of damage, so I'm getting massive XP for that. This guy can't pen me from here, so what he decides to do in a few seconds is to move up on me. Now I lost a huge amount of hit points in that brawl, and I was against so many different tanks. I'm down to 75 hit points, so it's going to be difficult for me to win this game, but I'm going to do my very best. As I said to you, I do lose this game in the end. It wasn't for the lack of trying. and I almost managed to pull it off, but couldn't quite. Now I'm still trying to use the whole of this tank to allow me to put shots into him and not receive damage. Unfortunately, he pushes up to me now, and I'm trying to use the hull, but still I think I'm not able to, and he switches up to APCR now, and now he starts to put damage into me. He's side onto me, I'm front onto him, the advantage should be mine. As you can see, I just ran out, I was just 6.6 seconds away from winning that game, but unfortunately I just ran out of steam. However, as you can see, I did get a mastery badge. I did over 2k damage, which in a tier 4 is pretty impressive. And if we look at the team scores, you can see I pretty much fought that battle on my own, and it's always very difficult to win on your own. As I said, this is a team game and you really need your team to help you out. You've got players doing 8 damage and 0 damage, as the Panzer IV-D and the BT-7 did. It's going to be very difficult to win, especially when you have players doing over 1000 damage on the other team. That said, it does show the strength of this tank, and in a 4v1 situation I almost pulled it off. And in this situation, the next game you're going to see here, I actually do pull off in a 3v1. And a 3v1, if you survive, win the game, you get a Kolobanov medal. And you'll see a Kolobanov medal in this game. And again, the Matilda, what I decide to do is I use its armour and its fast gun and a strategic position on the map to survive when I'm against when it's a 3v1 situation. Now, what I decide to do here is I've had a look at the setup at the Reds list, and I decide to move on. I'm going to be aggressive. I have great faith in the strength of this armour, so I decided to push on and be aggressive. So heavy tanks, you can be aggressive in them, you can go front line, which is what I decided to do here. Now, I do take a shot here from the Electo because he was unspotted, and there isn't really much you can do if you're side on to a big gun like that. But I want to push on, I want to try to be aggressive. I want to use the heavy armour of my tank to do as much damage to the enemy and to help out my team. So what I'm doing here is I push onto this M7. I'm moving around, I'm making it difficult for him to get a shot on me. He's finding it very difficult to find somewhere he can pen. He's missed another shot there, and I'm just penning him all the time. You know, as I said to you, the penetration on the normal AP rounds in this tank is great. Plus I've got 3.3 second reload, so I can do massive damage. Do not ram a Matilda, that is a bad idea. You saw how much hit points he lost there. However, in the Matilda you can ram, and you see I damaged both of those tanks there, one with the shell, one with the ram. Now this is a tactic I've used before. I use when I'm in a 2v1 brawl, I use the one enemy tank to block out the other one. You cannot fire through your enemy, as you cannot fire through your ally, as you know. So what I do is I just use the M7 to block out the Electo. The fact that he doesn't have a turret makes it even more difficult for him, and every time he's trying to get a shot on me he exposes, and I'm just able to put rounds into him. I take him out, and now I'm just left against the M7, and the M7, I don't know, he is not aiming properly, or he is not using APCR, but he didn't put a single shell into me. The only damage that was done was by the Electo. Now I'm going to try to help my teammates. I see there's one in trouble over here, so I'm going to go to try to help him. Now, as you can see, the tank is not fast. Heavy tanks are not fast, so getting around the map is difficult. And when you do it, you do it very slowly. But nonetheless, I persevere and I'm trying to get there. Now we have a 4v4 situation here, but very quickly my teammates are going to go down. So now it's 4v3. I'm trying to help them. I'm going to put a round into him, the Panzer IV-A. I'm going to get another round into him. Yes, one right in the backside as he goes over the hill. Now I managed to take out this guy. Now it's 3v2, but my ally is too far away. I'm going to help him. I'm going hell for leather to try to help him, because I want it to be 3v2, not 3v1. Because who wants to end up in a 3v1 situation? Now I'm in a Kolobanov situation. It's 3v1, and those tanks have, you know, relatively good hit points. So now here's what to do in a Kolobanov situation. You formulate a plan. So I knew that driving out into the open in this tank is going to negate my main advantage, which is my thick armour, because it's going to be able to surround me. So what I do is I back up to the rocks so they can't get behind me, and I'm going to just go face on and side on to try and bounce as many shots as possible. So what I'm doing is I'm protecting my butt so that they can't get behind me. So in this situation, in the clubbing up situation, you need to think about what you're going to do and formulate a plan and stick to that plan. So my plan was not to go out into the open. I was going out into the open to try to help my ally, but as soon as he got killed, I changed my mind and decided to use the rocks to defend my most vulnerable part, which is the back of my tank. My front is most strongest, the most powerful, very difficult to pen, so I have that facing out. And even if they come onto the sides, even the side of the Matilda is difficult sometimes to pen. So you can see I've given myself a huge advantage. Now I have it down to 3v1, sorry, from 3v1 to 1v1. And here's the thing, right, I'm trying to block him in, I don't want him to get behind me. And here's the thing, right, once I'm 1v1, then it's easier for me because I only have one opponent to worry about. And now the advantage is mine because I'm a tier 4 against a tier 3. And I really saved that situation. I'm moving around, I'm trying to make it difficult for him to pen me while keeping my gun on him. And with my 3.3 second reload I have a significant advantage, and now it's game over. And there you go. Almost so 6 kills, almost 1.7k of damage. The jihad there is not happy, he says it's ridiculous. But and in the end I did almost 2k damage, 6 kills, and I got a clubbing off medal, surviving and winning the game against 3. And yeah, he telling me I'm a lucky player. Yep, I guess the Chihi probably thinks I am lucky, but in actuality it wasn't. It was a little bit of luck. Of course there's always luck involved in a mastery badge, and anybody who tells you differently is lying to you. You do need a little bit of luck, but you also need to have a plan to survive against 3 or 4 other tanks, and don't do stupid things and know your own tank. So I knew that the strength of my tank is its armour, particularly on the front and sides. So I pushed back into the rocks, protected my butt, and used my fast rate of fire, my great gun, and my armour to give myself an advantage, and in the end that paid off. It doesn't always pay off, of course, but one thing's for sure, if you don't have a plan, it won't work. Now, you don't play to get this medal. I mean, who the hell wants to be left in a situation where you're 3v1, right? So, like the Resonate, you never play for it. This situation is forced upon you, right? Either by great play by the Reds or poor play by the Greens, or a combination of both. But what you can do is be prepared. In other words, know your tank, know the opposition tanks, formulate a plan, and then stick to that plan. Now, it's not always going to work, as I said, but if you formulate a plan and stick to it, as I did there, you have a better chance than having no plan, panicking and driving out into the open and letting the enemy surround you. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed it. Take care now, see ya, and enjoy the Matilda. It's an absolutely fantastic tank.